accountability. Uh, so we're excited to have Sarah chat with you guys tonight about that. So I will turn it over to you and share with us, girl. Go right ahead.
Right. So my first time leading, so I'm a little nervous, but it'll be okay. My name is Sarah. I've been a coach for about a year and a half now, and I have before I started as a coach, I was a challenger, and that kind of ties into my personal story of why accountability groups are so important. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story of why they mean so much to me and why I feel like this important topic is important. And then I will kind of go into some tips of how to make yours successful as well. So I started out as a challenger, and the first group that I ever was a part of, I did not really participate in. I kind of fell off the bandwagon just as quickly as I jumped onto it with Beachbody. With the first program that I did, while I didn't participate, I still got the notifications on my phone, and I still was seeing the activity being done. So even though like months had passed before I had done like a Beachbody program myself, I was still seeing girls like actively participating, and that kind of kept it in my mind, I guess. So it was important to me later now to realize that even the girls who aren't maybe participating in those groups are still watching what you're doing in those groups. And so later on, when I became a coach, I also became a coach in March of 2020, which, if we all know, that started COVID. And so I titled myself like a COVID coach because I've been a coach this whole time, and I haven't been able to participate in like a single in-person activity this far. So it's been really hard for me to feel like that tangible like community feeling like that a lot of people get with like the quarterly like super weekends and the like yearly trips and stuff, which I'm about to be able to start going on, which I'm super excited about. But like that for me means that the accountability groups that I'm a part of are like, that is my community. And so it's so important to me to, number one, be a part of the groups that I know that will build up that community for me, and then me also lead powerful groups for girls to be a part of. And so that is why it's so important to me, is just because these groups that are online have meant so much to me personally, and like my journey as a coach and as a challenger. And so that's why it's important for us to be able to have these groups and to lead them. So it's all about your community, and it's scientifically proven that like we are not made to do life on our own. And so it's really a lot easier to do hard things together. And so just don't make your groups, like, make this something that you want to be a part of and that you're actively always pursuing. So for me, I always make sure that I, like, right after my workout, I am posting in my group immediately, because if I leave it at the end of the night, then it's most likely I'm going to forget to do it, or I'm going to kind of push it aside. And if you're talking about your friends, like, I don't push my friends aside. Like, I want to be able to communicate with them, like, what I'm doing, and like kind of keep up with them, like in life, like your family, your friends, that's what you do in a community. And so you want to make your community a priority as well. And so another thing is, it's also part of our total solution, like as coaches. And so we want to make sure that like the girls who are signing up, they're not just getting the workouts and they're not just getting the nutrition plans, they're also getting us, like, the community aspect of it. And so if you're not giving that to them in some way, then you are not, like, they're not getting what they paid for, and they're also not getting what they deserve. And so it's really important for you to be able to give them that in some way or another. And so that is why these accountability groups are so important, both you being in and a part of one, and then also you being able to lead one, and hopefully get that leadership experience as well. Like for me, that's been such a big part of me kind of branching out as well, of my little like social bubble, I guess, is like being able to lead these groups. It's made me such a more social person in general. So with all that being said, I've been a part of a lot of different types of groups. And so over the past year and a half, I can't count the many number of groups that I've been a part of. And I actually love that. Like, I love that there's so many different types of groups out there for people, because we're all different and we all like different things, and we all need different things when it comes to our accountability. And so one of the biggest things, like for a successful group, is to be your best challenger. Make sure that you are the woo girl, as I call it, like in your group. So if you are not showing up consistently for yourself, if you're not posting every day, if you're not being the encouragement that people need, then you can't expect other people to do it. And so use this as your own growth tool and your own like way to track your own progress, and to also again, give encouragement to other people, because the more that you give out, the more that they are going to give in return as well. So make sure that you are your number one challenger in your group. Another thing is just to have fun with it. Like, what is fun to you in your groups? Like, it doesn't have to be something complicated. It doesn't have to be something that like you have to create yourself. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to these groups. Like, you can be creative and make your own content, but you can also kind of look back at other groups and like see what has been successful in the past. I know one of my favorite groups, like one of my favorite bigger groups, was the Family Feud group that we did last year. It was like a huge like group, and it was really fun. We had like all of these competitions, and like you got to be in like smaller teams, and that was just so much fun for me. And so I've taken that concept of like competitive edge and drive and like have brought it into my own groups. And so that's just fun for me. And I know that if I'm having fun, then I'm going to be more apt to interacting with the girls in it and to participating myself. So try something new if you are kind of feeling like you're in a rut, like of you have a group and you're not really sure like why everybody's falling off, like nobody's really participating. Like, have fun and try something new. And also don't be afraid of like smaller groups as well. I think we can very easily get in our heads that the best groups are like the biggest groups, and like they have to be you can compare your groups so easily to these other big groups that are like have like 100 people or like 500 people or all these things, and then with like all these comments. And I know that we all can play the comparison game sometimes in our businesses, and this is one of those things that I fall into myself, of like, oh, my group has 60 people in it, then it must not be great. Or, oh, my group has 5 people in it. Like, some of the most successful groups I've ever had have like 5 to 10 people in them. And that's just because, like, don't measure your success off of other people's groups. Like, measure your success off of like the energy of that specific group, and like what the girls are getting out of it and what you're getting out of it. And so I have used different types and modalities, I guess, of groups as well. So you can use Facebook groups if that works best for you and your challengers. You can use the BOD groups. I know that BOD groups was newer like last year, I believe, and it was not the greatest thing to use at first, but I've actually grown to really like it now. I use it for most of my smaller groups, like when I'm having a group for like 21 Day Fix, for example. Like, I've just recently had a group and there's only 5 girls in it, and we're all just doing 21 Day Fix together. And it's super easy to check in right there on BOD groups, and they don't even have to like go to Facebook and post somewhere else. Like, it's super easy. And so you can use BOD groups. You can use other types of groups, whatever works for you. I know Slack was something that I've been a part of as well. But again, you don't have to make it complicated. Just make it something that works best for you guys and is easy for your challengers to use. And so I mean, that was really short. I don't have a lot else to say about it, but I just feel like the accountability groups are super important for our businesses and for our own success. And if you're not a part of one and you're not actively participating in one, then you're really missing out. And if you're kind of stuck in the groove of you feel like your group is failing of some sort, like it's not failing, like you're doing, if you're actively participating and you're actively like putting in posts and work and love into those girls. Another thing is to make sure you have like one-on-one relationships with those girls as well. Like the biggest thing for me when I notice that girls are not really showing up in the groups, I will go out and I will personally reach out to them and I will make sure that they like know that I'm there for them. And if they have that personal connection, they're going to be more likely to come back into that group and like check in. I've had plenty of people who I work with who never even use an accountability group, and that's fine. Like, but I still keep up with them like one-on-one. And so the community always starts with those like one-on-one relationships, I feel like, and then they are more likely to build a connection with other women as well. So that's just something if you're kind of struggling with figuring out maybe why girls have dropped off or like they're not really participating anymore. Like maybe they are, but they're kind of just doing it on their own. And so you want to make sure that you are still their coach and you're still providing that like accountability for them. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to share more experiences with like groups that I've been in or things that I've seen work in the past or anything.
What questions do you guys have? Sorry, I had to step away. Quinn was going psycho. But yeah, what do you guys have questions? Or yeah, if you want to share more about like some different groups or like some different fun things that you've done too, like anything that you feel like has gone over well with like groups that you've run, I think that's always helpful too, just even for us that have been coaching for a while. Like it's just nice to hear, you know, people that what you guys are doing. Kelsey wants to know if you go live in your groups.
Sarah, I have a question. Oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead.
You're okay. I was just going to answer this question real fast of the going live. I do that. I should do that way more, honestly. I think the National Wake Up Call either this week or last week like mentioned that too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that more. But I think girls really do enjoy that. Like they, if you tell them as well, like, hey, I'm going to go on live in an hour, then they're like more likely to get on later as well. But I think it just brings up more conversation. Like, and if you see somebody that's watching that's live, I can like shout her out and be like, hey, like, how's it going? You know? And so I think it builds excitement a little bit. So yes, and I should more. So Kayla, you had a question. Oh,
I typed it in the chat and I think Paige did too. That was probably easiest.
Okay. Okay, so the next one I see is how often do you start a new group? Okay, so I listened to the National Wake Up Call every week and I listened to like trainings every week and I would listen to these coaches say, start a new group every month. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so many groups to like keep up with. And it really is. But I have like gotten into the habit of making more groups. So they're mostly like those smaller groups that I was talking about if I'm going to have multiple. And they're mostly focused on like a theme in which I feel like I personally need to. So like if I'm thinking about like a topic or a theme for my accountability group for a month, I normally think about what I am personally struggling with first and then kind of go from there. So like nutrition is something that I'm not the best at. And so I will kind of do something fun and focused on nutrition sometimes, or maybe it is specific to a program that I'm doing or something. But I do, I don't know if I have like a regimented, like this is how, like I don't start it on a new month every month, but it just depends on what I feel like people need or what I'm interested in at the time. And I do have one big group like that I I add everybody to if they want to be in. And then if we're following, or like if they're doing something special with me, like, because I often invite with groups as well, like I invite 2 groups, and so I will make sure that I'm providing for whatever I've told them I will. And then I do have daily check-ins at least. I have the one I'm doing right now, like my biggest group, I do have a daily post, and I do have it like a daily check-in, and the daily check-ins are normally in the evenings. And I just like schedule those for like 8 o'clock every night. And it asks like, did you do your workout today? Did you, do you feel good about how you ate? Like, are you drinking your, like half your body weight in water? Like, what else is there? Did you take 10 minutes of personal time? And there's something else, but like, I just ask like 5 basic questions, and like, that's kind of a reflection time too for people. And I do like, I have the most interaction on those posts, on like those daily, like nightly check-ins. The daily posts are nice, like if mostly for like something encouraging, I feel like, or like a thought of the day, but a lot of people just end up posting their own like sweaty selfie outside of that anyway, from my experience. So daily posts, yeah, so I feel like daily posts can be too much. Then again, yeah, so I mean, if you don't have to do, like if you're doing a nightly check-in, maybe you don't have to do a daily post. It could be like a every other day, or like a weekly post or something. But I just feel like I personally get a lot of interaction from girls who want that daily accountability. Do I give prizes and rewards to challengers? So yeah, so sometimes when I'm doing like a fun theme, like right now I'm doing like a fall fun themed thing, I will do like a challenger of the week. And so I sometimes I'll give out a prize for that, which will just be like some samples of something, or I'll do like a small gift card. But I'm just kind of give out that acknowledgement and that shout out to the group, and people like that as well. People like that little boost of confidence, and the little prize like sometimes. And if it's like a bigger group, if it's like a bigger thing that I'm pushing, then I will do like a bigger prize. Like when 645 was coming out, we did a prize of like a 645 accessory bundle. And so that was really cool, because then they end up like doing the program. So I've done different things like that before. Do I use performance lines or shake? Oh, yes. Kayla's in my group. And yeah, so yeah, the last one was like, if they're using shake, did they drink their Shakeology or their performance line for the day? So that's also just kind of pushing that and knowing that it's like a daily necessity for me. So yeah.
That's a good reminder just about Challenger of the Week, because I do feel like even just a shout out goes a long way. Like, you don't always have to put your own investment into like prizes and stuff. But the accessory bundles, that's such a genius prize, like coming up on launches, like as we come into December on the Job One launch. That's like a really great thing. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and I mean, it at least like gets people asking questions too, like about the program, or that gets them excited about the program. So we will, for that type of program, like when we're doing a prize, we normally do like a point system. So we'll do like points for commenting posts, points for posting daily posts, points for like, we're planning one in October for like fun challenges every week. And so like, if they do that, they'll get points. And and that one will probably, with the point system, we will do some type of reward, just because people like competitions. So, but yeah, just a weekly shout out is normally enough for people to get excited about that. So.
Does anyone else have any questions? Those are all like really good questions for Sarah and for us all, just like to think about too, what we're doing in our groups. It's just a good reminder, especially, am I freezing?
I think one thing we didn't talk about, which is kind of like a group, is like a free group. And this is something that haven't thought about. So I've just recently had a new coach start, and she immediately like started her own accountability group, and then just started inviting people to it. And like, they don't have to necessarily be doing Beachbody for her, like, but they're just like adding people who are interested in just like keeping up with one another. And that's kind of cool. Like the concept of just having like a free group, and like, at least they're, I don't know, like at least they're seeing like what you're doing. Like that's like I don't want to say marketing yourself, but I mean, like, that's like, you're still just showing up and showing that like you can follow this program and like be on track, I guess. I don't know, but that was just a cool thought. And then obviously, like, we know about free groups. Like, I've done at least 3 or 4 free groups in the past, and like, I've really enjoyed doing that too, like for like Beachbody. So that's a fun thing to do as well if you're looking to get new interest, I guess.
I did that when I first started coaching, is started a group because like, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and just like was there for workout accountability. Like, I didn't care what anybody was doing. And I actually found that it was pretty helpful. Like, I think it builds your confidence up a little bit without feeling like you need to know everything about Beachbody. And I think I would 100, I've recommended that to new coaches before too, because then they feel like they can have a group without having like a bunch of people sign up with Beachbody. And I think it works really, really well.
Awesome.
I mean, that was a long time ago when I did it, but it worked.
Yeah. Sorry, I kept going in and out. I'm on my phone now. But I think it's just refreshing to hear like what some of you newer coaches are doing too, because I know, I'm sure like Kayla can relate to this, but the further we get not removed, the longer you've been coaching, you forget about what it was like in the beginning. Just like anything, like for me, that was 5 years ago. And just like she said, like I used to run free groups every single month. And, we used to do groups a certain way. And so it's just nice and refreshing to hear like, okay, these are some things that, I can be implementing and doing better with groups and all of us. So it's just a good reminder to hear these things. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing just what's working for you and what you're doing. Because even, like getting back to those daily check-ins, or like you said, like the nightly check-in, having them do that stuff, that's nice. So does anyone else have any questions or? Cool.
Hey, this is Mandy. Sorry, I'm driving, so I can't have my camera on. But I was talking to some other coaches about this. But one thing in our group that we do that seems to go over well is that we have like a ring the bell announcement where they drop like a bell emoji when they finish a program, and so that their coach can like make a graphic and shout them out, and so that they get recognition like every time they complete something, just so it kind of gives them an incentive to finish it. And then we haven't done this, but I think it'd be cool to like, at the end of a certain amount of time, like draw a prize from those people or something,
I love that. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Mandy. That's a good. Cool. Well, does anyone else have anything they want to add, share? Any other questions for Sarah about what she's doing that's working well? Cool.
Good job, girl. You crushed it.
Yeah, good job. Your first call. Woo, woo, woo. Sorry, I had to step out. I'll pop on and make sure I listen to the recording.
Okay.
But yay, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Stepping up, being a leader on our team. It's so nice to have you and just to share some refreshing ideas and things that you're doing that's working. So we appreciate you. Thanks for everyone